a lot of times parents hold themselves to impossible standards, and you have to
Yeah,
realize
that's for
that
sure.
we are figuring it out on the go.
Yeah.
But the idea is that they're growing too. So if we're growing at the same pace they are, then we're gonna do okay.
I'm not really good at nurturing myself. So
Right.
I'll let myself get beat up a lot faster than I'll let my kids get beat up.
Right. You didn't give your kids equal snacks in their lunchbox.
Right, okay.
If you're feeling guilty about that, go watch Dahmer. And then you'll feel, hey,
At least my kids aren't
I'm
killing
better-
and eating
it's-
people.
Yeah.
What he says to his kids is, "You'll have my love forever. I will always love you no matter what, but respect is earned."
Welcome to the Derelict Podcast. For the disparaged, depleted, and delinquent souls trying to find our way, we're talking about the scary part of the journey, where we don't know how it'll end. Let's be free to face our fucking failures in real time, as the most unadulterated, truest version of who we are. No sugarcoating. Welcome to the shit show, you derelict.
How's it going, Tyler?
Oh, me?
Yeah. Yeah,
going
you.
well.
You're the fucking derelict in
Yeah.
front of me right now. Who
That's
else would
true.
I be talking about? I mean, except for all the derelicts listening. That's for sure.
Just enjoying sitting in your cozy living room.
Oh, thanks. It is a nice living room.
Yeah.
I really like my living room. And all of those records that I just got for my birthday that I'm super stoked about. I haven't even gone through all of them yet.
That's amazing.
Did I tell you the story about that?
No.
Well, you know, sure, I'll name drop on the podcast, Noah. You know Noah.
Oh, I know Noah.
Yeah, so he recently had some records. I won't share all the details because I don't want to get too personal on somebody else that's not on the podcast. But he basically had some records at his parents' house that they weren't listening to. And he literally brought me that, like, boob light box. I
Yeah.
call them boob lights, right?
A box full of records.
A box full of records. And, dude, we're talking, like, first edition fucking Beatles and Fleetwood Mac and other shit in there. They're dope. Those are the best records I've ever gotten.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm super stoked about it.
That's
Really
going to be
good.
fun.
Several Carly Simons records as well, and she's not difficult to look at, so that helps.
That helps when listening to music.
Yeah, because then I get to look at the record album also.
Okay,
The
okay.
cover. I mean, that's half the fun, isn't it? No, it's not. So today we're talking about vinyl on the Derelict Podcast, right?
Garage finds and self-storage raids.
On NPR.
Hmm.
The was a good NPR moment. All right, so what are we talking about today, Tyler?
We're talking about failure in parenting.
Oh, got it. Okay, so we're diving into the difficulty of parenting, especially as derelict divorced dads. Today's episode, as you said, failure in parenting. Part 1. We're going to do this multiple times. I mean, we could do an entire podcast on parenting, right?
But today we're talking about the real difficult parts from the growing up to, well, at least from our perspective, through the middle school years,
Yeah.
if you will.
Yeah. Kind of
And-
young preteen. That's about all the success we've had. Success.
You have a lot of success with
No.
teens.
I meant experience. That's the only experience we have is dadding kids up to, preteen age. Our kids haven't gotten past that, so
Yeah.
probably can't speak to teenagers if our kids aren't even teenagers themselves, right? I mean, I don't know.
Well, we haven't had failures in that department yet.
Yeah,
That's
well,
all we have to look forward
we
to.
failed because they haven't even made it there yet.
How would you?
That's not a failure. Don't worry about
No.
it. Don't double think. Yeah, just let that one go. Well, have you ever noticed how most podcasts just tell you about your failure after someone's had massive success, Tyler? Have you ever noticed how most podcasts just tell you about failure after someone's had massive success, Tyler?
Yeah, everything I listen to is about success, not how to deal with failure. This podcast is about being in the midst of failure, not about the massive success we've had.
Yeah, for sure. It's not a 3-step formula that will remove all problems from your life. It's honestly getting real with the failure we all face and learning from each other too, right?
Yeah, we're in the middle of it too.
Awesome. Welcome. Here we are. So, today, let's go into Fun for the Other One. Can you describe to our podcast audience what Fun for the Other One is?
Fun for the Other One is the segment of the podcast where we write something the other person has to say and they haven't looked at it before. They just have to read it. Part of the deal.
Perfect. All right.
So
Who's first?
I guess I'm going first.
I'll go first this time because
Okay.
I think you're on here first. So I think you went first last time.
Okay.
I'll go first. Let's see
If
what
it's
mine
that
says.
important to you, Josh.
It's very important for me to make sure that you heard about Stephen Hawking's fetish for midgets struggling to solve equations. Have you heard this?
I have.
Who would have thought
Shocking.
that I shared the same fetish with one of the smartest men alive?
That is
Shocking.
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 I firmly believe that children of all ages have the inner true knowledge and wisdom of who they fully are, whatever gender, religion, sect, race, or sexuality they may believe they are. That is what they are.
Good for you. You have a lot of faith in children that are still developing. That's wonderful.
Very specifically pointed into maybe a funnel vision
Of what you didn't want to talk about
Yeah.
today? You're welcome. I think that was actually on the list. Well, I am wearing my Wise Donkey shirt today, so it helps.
It unleashes your inner sass.
Yep. When you're wearing a shirt that says Wise Ass, what else the fuck are you supposed to do? All right, so we're talking about parenting. Maybe I'll just read one of these quotes that you came up with. Jim Gaffigan, one of our favorite comedians, said the hardest
Speak for
part of
yourself.
parenting is what? He's not one of your favorite comedians? Okay, he's one of my favorite comedians. Said the hardest part of parenting is when I'm with my kids. I love that.
I feel it. He also said parenting's a cult, and as a cult member, you can try to explain it to other people, but we just appear like lunatics.
It's fantastic. So, we always talk about what we're going to talk about, what we're not going to talk about. So, today we're talking about parenting. Let me give you just the readers. Are people reading this? Is the transcript
Listen
going
up,
out?
readers.
Excuse me for all those readers out there. Okay, for all those listeners, here's a few things we're talking about today. We're talking about parenting formation. How do we learn the parenting that we then portray? The learning curve that never ends. Kid transitions. Might not be the topic that you think it is just by saying that. Kids becoming self-sufficient as they're older. Fighting for your kids, letting them fight for themselves. Parenting other people's kids. So we got a lot on the agenda today. All right, what are we not going to talk about, Tyler?
I don't want to talk about child labor laws.
Okay. Because of what you make your children do?
Yeah,
Okay. So you're breaking child labor laws with your children?
I'm not going to talk about it on this.
Good boundary,
Podcast.
Tyler. Wow, it's almost like you read the book Boundaries that we talked about last time.
Oh, I did.
Between now and last time. Well, I don't want to talk about how bitter I am that I have to wait to talk about religion, masculinity, and sex.
Of course. Of course, that's what you don't want to talk about.
You like how I just snuck that in there when
Yeah.
you said that you didn't want to talk about that? I'm really good at that.
You are.
I'm good at not talking about what you're talking about. I'm not talking about what you're talking about. It's very respectful because I'm not talking about it technically. I'm just
so respectful
kind of referencing
to
it.
sideswipe boundaries. So what this podcast theme is always is about the failure and the journey in that middle piece. So
Right.
let's get right into how you have failed recently at parenting. Give us a highlight reel.
So, a few things. One thing that I had an idea of is just interjecting in arguments too quickly. So, I have 3 children. They learn how to communicate by kind of arguing with each other sometimes, right? That's just how kids learn how to communicate. They have to figure out, well, I want to do this, you want to do this, I want to do this. And sometimes I still, to this day, I've been working on this for years, but still to this day, I just interject way too quickly. I get in there and I just try to solve things for them, and I try to make sure that everybody's okay as kind of, this old codependent. I want to make sure nobody's get their feelings hurt, and God forbid, one of the child gets offended at something. So I've definitely done that a few times recently. And one of the times recently, I had to go back to my son and just apologize and kind of own my shit afterwards, because I realized that they were fully capable of figuring it out. And right before they figured it out, I interjected in just kind of an asshole sort of way.
You snapping at them?
Yeah, snapping at them. Literally right before they were about to figure it out themselves. If I would have just walked out of the room and came back, it would have been fine. So that was one
I'm
example.
guilty of that a lot.
That was one example I thought of. How about you?
So I was just thinking about the time that I took him mountain biking, and we were going on a fairly easy little trail, but my youngest had just learned to ride her bike and she didn't really want to go. I kind of pushed her out of her comfort zone. We immediately get on the trail. She just starts falling and crying because she's not, she just learned how to ride a bike.
Right.
She's not how,
And now you're taking her
on a
mountain
mountain bike
biking.
trail. But I'm trying to be patient.
And they let anyone take a kid home from the hospital.
I know.
If you just share DNA, it's so fucking stupid. Sorry, continue.
Maybe they'll put some laws in place for that you can vote for.
You know me. I want the government to be bigger. So
More overreach. says
more
Josh.
government. That's me.
So I'm on this bike trail with her, and instead of realizing that this was just a bad choice to begin with, I'm just getting frustrated that she's crying so much each time she falls. It's taking so long to get back up on the bike. And so I just kind of start waiting kind of the end of each turn for her to try to make it. And she falls down, but right on the other side of the curve, so I didn't see how she fell. And I hear her crying, and I thought, this time I'm not going to just run to her rescue. I'm just going to let her cry it out and get it on the bike. And I'm thinking like, oh yeah, you're teaching her to have more grit. And she just doesn't stop crying. And I just keep waiting.
No.
I'm just kind of watching her, seeing if she wants to get up. And then she just gets real mad at me for not coming to check on her.
Yeah.
And just, you didn't say anything. You didn't come pick me up. Didn't say anything for a long time. Turns out that when she fell, I didn't see it, but she just got sucker punched in the throat by her handlebars.
Oh,
So
fuck.
so her breath was knocked out. She
So
couldn't
she wasn't
actually
being a little
say
bitch.
anything.
She literally couldn't breathe.
right.
Fucking
And I
angry.
was just kind of standing there waiting for her to get some grit.
Yeah.
So just a terrible, I just had to apologize over and over again.
How old was
This
she?
was just not that long ago. This a few months ago. And I would say it really has changed my reaction time in that I've tried to go to my kids faster now because they want to be scooped up, and I don't err on the side of over nurturing.
Right, yeah, for sure.
So I'm sure there's a balance somewhere in there, but I think, being a responsive parent that comes in, those emotional needs especially, comes in, does not hesitate. That's the kind of parent I want to be, and I need to work on that.
Yeah, and later on we're talking about kids becoming self-sufficient, and I think that's a big piece because we're going to talk about younger kids versus kind of preteen kids.
Yeah.
And that one's a hard one for me. It's hard for me to know always, when do I actually come in quicker? How do I scoop them up? Or do I just let them kind of deal with what they're dealing with? So yeah, I agree with you. That's a tough one. I also have one too, just, my youngest still struggles with bedwetting from time to time. And, it's kind of one of those things where I loved the old parenting wisdom that I got before from several people that basically, let's use this as an example. Like, they're not going to go to college wetting their bed, right? But the concept is they'll start walking before they go to college, right? For somebody who has a baby as a kid and they're not walking yet, and they're 13 months old, and they're freaking out. They're like, oh my God, my kid's never going to walk.
Like the concern for a delay, like it's all
Correct.
going to even out in the end. That's what
Correct.
you're saying? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, they'll be fine. They'll eventually be fine.
Right.
And I have to continually remind myself of that because I keep feeling like I'm doing something wrong. Like,
Right.
do I not have a room set up? Am I not doing soft enough music? Am I not waiting enough to screen time to bedtime? Is she going to bed at the right time? Does she
Like
need,
all these things that you're asking yourself if they're
Yeah.
factors?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I ask all of these things.
Huh.
Instead of just thinking that, oh, she's just wetting her bed because she's still trying to figure it out. And she doesn't do it that often, but it makes me really insecure as a dad. And I
Fascinating.
constantly feel like I'm failing about that. Why is that fascinating for you?
That you're choosing to take ownership of that. And that's
Right.
what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I just think that is,
Yeah.
um,
And I think part of that's programming. Part of that is my old codependent kind of nature and my old marriage and everything else. But yeah, sometimes I have a hard time figuring out, okay, how much of that do I take on versus how much is it she just hasn't figured it out yet. I love this quote that you put on here. Speaking of this, tiny humans need connection, not perfection. Do you know where that's from?
I can't remember.
It's so great, though. Just that example that we both gave, right? You connecting with your daughter when she falls off her mountain bike is all she wants. She just wants her dad
Right.
to be there for her
Yeah.
and not treat her like she's being a little bitch when she's not. That's all she wants.
Such a great summary, Josh.
But the same thing for me. Like, it's sometimes too, if it's been like a couple nights in a row, I go in, I just get pissed. I'm like, fucking stop wetting your goddamn fucking bed. You know what I mean? Just like, stop.
That's how you talk to her.
No, it's not.
In your head, though.
But in my head, that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. And I realize and she's just there crying. She just wants me to hug her. So
Yeah.
I just hug her and get pee all over myself.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, sure.
You don't just hold her arm's length
No,
to the bathroom?
I went over that. Whatever. It's all going in the laundry. It's all good. Because I'd rather just connect with my kids.
Yeah. Well, and that, I think, resonates in their brain as they develop.
For sure it will. They'll remember that we're there for them. They won't remember little things we do or even, I think, some trips we take and everything else.
But even when we do fail, I like that quote, they need connection, not perfection. 'Cause
Right.
as long as you're connecting with them, they're going to be much better off than if you're just trying to be perfect all the time.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it helps when I am perfect all the time.
Oh, well, yeah.
So, right.
But for the rest
But
of
you're
us,
talking about for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do we want to talk a little bit about parenting formation?
Yeah. We're not parenting out of a void. Parenting comes from somewhere.
Right.
And it's a mixture of your beliefs and what you saw modeled.
Right.
So I think it's important to address that, especially when you're coming to the approach of, all right, I'm in the middle of this, parenting at whatever age. Like, we can be too hard on ourselves and we can have blind spots. And so looking at where do we get our parenting toolbox from is really important if we're going to acknowledge how we're doing and evaluate what you're going to change.
Yeah. Sure.
It's a journey of figuring that out, right? Because sometimes I don't know why I do what I do in parenting, and then all of a sudden a light bulb clicks on. It's like, oh, that's what, like, have you ever had this experience where you're watching your parents interact with your kids or someone else's kids, and you see them do something that you forgot they did, and it just clicks in your mind of like, oh, that's where I learned that from.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. For sure. Freaks me out sometimes. Because
Yeah.
I definitely feel like my father. And I just had a big birthday, so I feel even more like a father now that
That's right.
I'm this age.
Big 40.
Oh, yeah. Which I was excited about until I hit it. Now I feel like a fucking old man, dude.
Welcome to the
40.
club.
Ugh. I'm in the best shape of my life, so at least that's good. A little low-key flex right there. All right, so what forms our parenting approach? Like, how much do we want to talk about where this comes from? Because obviously I reparent as my parents' parent. And maybe just to start on a positive note, I heard somebody say this the other day. I didn't write it down. I don't remember the exact quote, but it was something to the effect of, everyone is brought into this world with some amount of love and connection. There had to be some sort of love and connection at some point, right? Even terrible parents that abandon their babies and everything else, at some point there is some sort of connection. I think that's a really positive way of thinking about how my parenting was formed, because I know that I can be very critical and just think, oh, here's all the things that my parents fucked up with, or here's the ways
Just
they
focusing
didn't
on the
nurture me.
failures.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
focusing on the failures. You know, focusing on maybe their parents' failures too. Like, I don't know, is it more common for you to hear that parents are better than their parents were, or the other way around?
I think it's definitely more common to hear that most people talk about their grandparents in the context of they had a hard upbringing.
Right.
So that's how they were. And my dad had a hard upbringing because that's how he was, you know, and it's usually,
But it progressively
it's like
gets better, right?
You're supposed to.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the idea. But it's not always on the parents. So you have kids that are, you know, might be considered objectively worse parents than their parents if they didn't deal with the stuff they had to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, it
Yeah.
could get worse.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about Jeffrey Dahmer earlier.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say that most people would probably say that Lionel Dahmer was a better man in general than Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah.
So that one didn't get better.
Right. Such a
Great
relevant example.
We talked about it just a little bit ago because that show on Netflix, that could be our first resource we talk about. Go watch the Dahmer story on Netflix. It'll help with parenting.
Here's a good one. Tyler's hot tip on how to affirm yourself as a parent.
Okay.
When you feel like you did something terrible, when you feel like you did something wrong, like
Okay.
you know,
Watch Dahmer.
you didn't give your kids equal snacks in their lunchbox.
Right,
If
okay.
you're feeling guilty about that, go watch Dahmer. And then you'll feel, hey,
At least my kids aren't
I'm
killing
better-
and eating
it's-
people.
Yeah. Or me. At least I'm not. How bad could I really get?
That's a great idea. I enjoy looking at other people that are worse people than me because it
I mean,
makes
how
me
else
feel
do you
better.
get self-esteem?
It's true. I mean, that's why we all like compare. But it's a human experience, right? Isn't that why we all compare everything to Hitler all the time? Because at least we're better than Hitler.
Right. It's it bonds us as a world.
Yeah. Well, it also it's harder for us to look at our faults, right? So this is kind of related to parenting, but I'm in the middle of a book called Thinking in Bets.
Ah,
Have you read that book before?
yeah.
Yeah, have
It's
you?
almost like someone real smart recommended it to you.
My business coach did years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, he did.
I also recommended it to
Did
you.
you
Yeah.
recommend it also?
Yeah.
Okay. On one of the podcasts?
I think so.
That'd be even better if it's on the
Yeah.
recording. But yeah, my business coach did years ago because he's a poker guy.
Okay.
So he talked about it. I didn't realize you did too. We got to go back and listen to that tape now. I want to bring it up. That'd be great. Anyway, I'm listening to it right now, and I think I'm almost done with it. And she talks about how our default is if something good happens, take credit for it, and if something bad happens, say it's bad luck or whatever. Right? I think it's the same thing right here. That's my connection to this.
Well, so in the book, they talk about, essentially taking credit for the good and not taking credit for
Right.
the bad.
Right.
So I think that bias rings true with parenting.
Mhm.
That, well, depending on how critical you are of yourself, you will take credit for the good of your own parenting and for your parents. The good in you take credit for, and all the bad things you blame your parents for. So with the parenting formation, there's always, it's how we were raised. So
Right.
that gets modeled. How we interacted with the world and other kids when we
Right.
were kids.
Right?
And that affects our filter, our lens with our parenting.
Yeah.
And then how we watched other people's parents. But then the other big one that's kind of like built into our operating system is religion and culture.
Mm.
And you have to do a lot of work to identify what parts of your toolbox, where it came from, and if you want to continue to use that in your parenting. Or I think a lot of people just say, they just look at how they were parented, how they were treated, and say the things they didn't like about that, they kind of react the other way to.
Right.
And most of the time, people's toolbox is basically just an updated version of just, I don't like that, I like this. But I don't know if people always add to their toolbox.
It's true. I didn't learn from my parents, clearly.
But parenting is hard. It's a learning curve that never ends. Like, you can't, it's one of the few things in
Well,
life.
it still is, but it still is even for your parents, right? Like,
Right.
no matter how old you are, it doesn't matter. It never ends. And you might shut that off at some point, though. Like, I don't know. I think my parents have maybe shut part of that off. Your parents maybe have shut part of that off, but you can't shut it off entirely. It's
No.
never possible.
Correct.
Yeah, I agree.
But there's, even as adult children, there's a whole new set of challenges. And
Yeah,
that's the
for sure.
problem, is that there's, people say they have a parenting book or a religious system that is the guidebook, but until you've done it, there's no actual roadmap.
True, except for the Bible.
The one and only roadmap to all things.
honestly, the best parenting advice clearly comes from Jesus Christ, who had no children.
Right.
Yeah.
And most of the apostles that wrote the New Testament had no children.
Oh, sorry, we're back. The power just went out, and we're back online. I think God killed it right after our last comments. Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I love learning. I'm a person that loves to learn. But sometimes, with parenting especially, do you ever get to the point where you're just like, fucking A, can I just have a day where I don't have to learn?
Yeah. Well, whether that's just a break from your kids or just a new challenge that is going to require a new tool in your toolbox.
Right.
That's exhausting sometimes.
Yeah, it
especially when you start going through and nothing, like you're trying all these different things. Like, take the bedwetting example.
Right.
You have all these different tools that you're going to try, and sometimes it's just a function of them growing out of it.
Right. Right. For sure. My youngest still can barely ride on 2 wheels and doesn't really like it, and doesn't even really like going with her training wheels. So, like, bike
Yeah.
rides are fucking miserable for us. So your
Yeah.
bike ride story, I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't even have tried that because I don't even like every time I try to take the bike somewhere, it's like a pain. That's another.
Such a pain.
Oh man, I can think of another great parenting fail when I took them all biking just along this fucking road by the river just down the way. I got them all out of the car. They're all being little dicks. And I was like, we're going to get on our bikes and we're going to ride as a family. Like, I was such that annoying.
You're gonna smile.
Exactly. You're going to have a goddamn good time, kids. We all get on the trail. It's fucking flat. And my youngest in her training wheels can't even like bike the flat trail. And I'm like, it's paved. There's a little bit of rocks on it. And you can't even go. And it was just like crying the whole time. And I just was zooming ahead. And then the other kids were like trying to keep up with me, but then trying to watch her at the same time and like not leave her alone as I was just all pissed. And I was like, damn it, kids, like get up here. It was terrible. I was such a disaster.
Dad's got to get his miles in.
Yeah. Dude, I just turned 40. Actually, that was a long time ago. That was way before I turned 40. So, all right, I love this quote by Bridget Miller, one of my favorite authors, speakers, podcasters.
Yeah, what was that one thing she wrote?
I have no fucking idea who Bridget Miller is. Who's Bridget Miller? What is this from? Is this from a book?
Yes, I don't remember what book though.
Okay, apparently Bridget Miller wrote a book that Tyler's mom read, and she sent us this quote. The point of parenting is not to have all the answers before we start out, but instead to figure it out on the go as our children grow. Because, as they do, so will we. See how easy it is to read that quote?
You did a phenomenal job, Josh.
So why does that quote stick out to you so much, Tyler?
Because I think a lot of times parents hold themselves to impossible standards, and you have to
Yeah,
realize
that's
that
for sure.
we are figuring it out on the go.
Yeah.
But the idea is that they're growing too. So if we're growing at the same pace they are, then we're going to do okay.
Yeah, that's true. This goes back to what we've talked about in previous podcasts, that book that I will give you full credit for introducing to me called The Gap and the Gain, which I love. I loved that book very much so. And it makes me think of this with parenting as well, right? If we're focusing on the gain we've had, in other words, where we came from, right? Where was I 3 years ago as a parent versus where I'm at right now? If I focus on that, I'm always going to feel gratitude and like I'm doing a good job and I'm really making
Confidence,
progress.
yeah.
Confidence, absolutely. But if I focus on where I want to be and these impossible standards that I set for myself, I'm always going to be fucking miserable about it. And then for me, when I get miserable, either sometimes I dig in more to try to solve it, or sometimes honestly, I just want to give up and I'm just like, fuck it.
Yeah.
I'm good enough, I guess.
That exhaustion from the just
Never meeting my
feeling-
own standards.
right, yeah.
Absolutely. I actually really like this quote.
what you just described as the growth mindset and the kind of the abundance mindset of focusing on the positive, focusing on the fact that there's a confidence and expectation you will get there and that there's enough. And I think that that's one of the biggest things that most people want to teach their kids. But the best way to teach that is by doing it ourselves.
Yeah.
You got to practice it, and you got to practice healthy mindset. You have to educate yourself, read, do the therapy, talk to people that also have the same mindset as you. And as that soaks into your life, it's going to soak into the kids' lives.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm not going to talk about God or religion or spirituality because you specifically requested that I don't.
You've been banned.
But if I were, no, I'm not going to talk about it. The only thing I'm going to mention here is the fact that I've been on this spiritual journey, and me trying to figure out what to do with my kids has been a real struggle for me while I'm trying to learn the same thing. And the only reason I'm bringing that topic up, that's it. That was
We'll
fine, right?
see.
That was respectful.
We
That's it.
will
That's
see.
all I said. That's all I said. But the reason I bring it up here is because isn't it amazing that we get to learn how to do this with our kids? I think it's amazing that we get to do it with them.
That's a very big mindset shift than kind of the typical parenting pressure, thinking that you have to have it figured out.
Right.
So that
And you
you,
have to
can
know
tell your
everything.
kids how the world works.
Yeah.
And if you have a
When we're all trying to
mindset-
figure shit out.
Right.
Like, who's not trying to figure shit out anymore? Except for people that have given up on it.
or have convinced themselves that
They're
have
right.
their one perspective in that moment is the one true perspective.
Yeah. Narcissists. Sure.
But if you still have a wonder of the world and look at your journey as a learning adventure, then you're going to have that approach to parenting.
Hashtag curious cunt. I love this other quote. I'll read it even though Tyler came up with it. I'm giving you full credit right now for this.
I'm not coming up with these quotes like generating them.
You are out of thin air. And this is the one. And he said that some guy named Abraham Maslow said this. I've never
my gosh.
That sounds like a made-up word to me. But the quote says, in any given moment, we have two options, to step forward into growth or to step back into safety. 100%. I love that. I love that in my parenting journey. I love that in every area of my life. And frankly, sometimes it's easier for me to remember that for myself than for me to teach that to my kids and be okay with them doing it too.
Yeah.
Right? Like the topic, I know we were going to talk a little bit about kind of letting kids fail and learning their own self-sufficiency and trying to figure that shit out. Sometimes I just want to, reach in all the time and save them.
But you don't have that urgency or desire yourself?
Save myself?
Yeah. Like
Not as much.
You're okay giving yourself a longer leash to fail than your kids.
But part of
I think that's fairly common.
Yeah, I think so too. I think part of that is healthy for me because part of it is me just trying to explore and try new things. But I think part of it is also unhealthy for me because I'm not really good at nurturing myself. So
Right.
I'll let myself get beat up a lot faster than I'll let my kids get beat up.
Right.
Is that true for you too?
Yeah, and I think that one of the biggest factors in that whole equation is what you deem your responsibility as a parent to be.
Mm-hmm.
If your responsibility as a parent is to prevent them from failing, to prevent them from pain, to prevent them from making the wrong choice, because there's one right choice.
Mm-hmm. Were you just wondering if I was going to let you get away with that one or what?
Yes, I was.
I heard you. I already know your feelings about things. I know that you're very much a black and white person. There's one right answer. You know what the right answer is. I already get that. It's okay. Keep going.
What were we talking about?
We were talking about letting kids fail or figure things out themselves.
Your identity as your parent, as a parent, what your job is. Are you someone that your job is to prevent them from failing and making the wrong choice and prevent them from pain? Then you're going to want to reach in a lot more and intervene.
Mm-hmm.
But if you realize that your job is not to prevent that, but just to guide them along the way, then you can give them as much long of a leash as you give yourself.
Yeah. As I've mentioned in previous podcasts, big fan of the comedian Jerry Seinfeld. I was listening to him on a podcast just today, thinking a little bit about our podcast. And one of the things that he was saying, I'm not going to quote it exactly because I didn't write the quote down, but basically what he said is, the podcast host asked him, like, do you have any advice just for parenting in general? And one of the things he said, he's like, well, yeah, kids need a little neglect. They need a little, let them figure it out, let them fail, let them have some pain, let them struggle. And, he said it as a joke. And then the podcast host basically called him a Jew for saying that.
Wow.
Which hopefully he was Jewish as well. I don't know. Otherwise, that joke probably wouldn't land as well. But I really liked it. I liked what Seinfeld was saying because he was really addressing, I think, helicopter parents.
Right.
People that are too involved with their kids' lives. Like, I don't know about you, man, but dude, when I was growing up, and you're, generations older than me, so you can probably relate. Just lifetime. So you could probably relate to this as well. But my son is 11. When I was 10, 11 years old, I would take my bike at the beginning of the day and just ride it around town all day and come back at night.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I went everywhere. I went down these huge hills. This one time I went down this huge hill and my brakes didn't work. And at the end I hit a curb and I went flying 20 feet into blackberry bushes. And I'm like there by myself, like with a friend, like that's just what we did. Could you imagine your 10-year-old doing that today?
I could actually.
Really? Like all over town and then you don't see him again until night. There's no way you've let her do that before.
I know. I'm saying I could imagine it.
But I think that was Seinfeld's point. He's like, we need to just kind of let them figure life out a little bit more than maybe we do. I don't know. It resonated with me. Maybe it doesn't with you. Maybe
no, it does. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing is like, we're supposed to keep them safe from
Define safe though. Like what?
right. That's even everyone's gonna have a different definition of that
Right.
as well.
Right.
But I'd say you're probably in the camp of what doesn't kill them makes them stronger.
I mean,
You want to be intellectually, but
I want to
Yeah.
be. I want
Yeah.
to be, but that's not where I am.
no. Yeah, I think it's a process of getting your actual values aligned with your emotional reactions sometimes.
True.
Yeah.
And back on what you just said too, I think part of that also is your relationship with your co-parent,
Yeah.
whether you're with that co-parent or not.
Yeah.
Which neither one of us are with our co-parent, but some people listening to this could be with their co-parent, married, partner, whatever. So depending on how your co-parent responds, it also sometimes dictates how you respond, right?
Yeah.
Not in a codependent or addicted way or I don't know, enmeshed sort of way, but just like I know my kid's co-parent is more cautious and safe in general than I am
Yeah.
with the children. Like my old apartment had a staircase going up to the second story that was just in the middle of the living room because it was just all kind of like a loft, right? More like a townhome. And at the time, I think my youngest was like 3 or 4, and I would just let her climb up the side of the staircase. Like, you know, she could have fallen a story.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, maybe some people listen to this podcast think I'm a terrible person, but like,
Right.
there's a couch below, and like, what's she gonna do? She's not gonna like even break her leg from that height. Like, she'll be fine. But like, her other parent wouldn't allow her to do that. So I think that sometimes dictates how much of that I allow. So, if you're in the audience listening to this, maybe think about the last time you had this struggle, because I feel like I have this struggle a lot where I try to figure out where do I intervene with my kids. And part of that has to do with maybe when to know to fight for your kids versus letting them kind of fight for their own identity, right? Like younger kids, my kids are younger and so are yours. And from my opinion, at least, with younger kids, like that's why we exist as parents. There are some things we got to kind of protect them from, right? Like we can't just let them be around any adult or any institution or any whatever that are going to fill their little impressionable minds with things that are going to be what we would say evil or immoral or whatever, right?
Right.
But everyone has a different opinion about that. Some people, I think, just kind of let their kids be like a flock of, I mean, like sheep without a sheepdog. Like just go out into the field and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess my question is, I'm always struggling with how much of that do I do versus how much I don't do. Is there ever something that we can fall back on that says, here's how we know? What do you think?
When you say here's how we know, you mean the line
Yeah.
of
Like letting them
when-
figure the shit
like
out.
guidance versus
Yep.
figure it out.
Right.
Well, in my opinion, depends heavily on intuition.
Yeah.
And I think the question you ask yourself is, can they figure this out themselves? Or, if it's like a thing of like that it could be harmful or not, say information, like it's a movie. There's stuff in this movie that could be harmful to them, or maybe I just need to relax, right?
Yeah.
So when
Yeah.
you're asking that question, it's, can they learn this on their own, or does it really help if I step in as the control factor and say, at this age, you're not ready for this risk, or at this age, you're not ready for this information?
Right.
And what is the consequence of that? If it's going to keep them on the trajectory of growing into a healthy human, then you probably don't need to avoid them learning that themselves.
So I think what you're saying as an overthinker is that maybe I'm thinking about how I overthink about this too much.
Is that what I'm
And
saying?
maybe I just need to stop overthinking it.
Well, I think that
I mean, what you're kind of saying is like, just go with your gut, right? Is that essentially what you're saying?
to a degree, intuition is worth trusting. But at the same time, I think we almost always lie to ourselves about our motivations.
Mm-hmm.
Almost always.
Yeah.
So I think checking in and asking yourself questions is really productive.
Yeah.
Like, why did I just say no to that?
Mm-hmm.
And the first answer I give, which is usually the one I give to my kids, if I thought about it for a second and checked in with myself, probably would be a different answer than what I just said the first time someone asked me.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's kind of looking at it from a third-party perspective, right?
Yeah.
Actually analyzing what's done. What you're saying is spot on. For me, again, as an overthinker, I often don't go with my intuition or my gut because of the fact that I talk myself, or I think myself out of it, I guess is a better way of saying it. I'm sure you've never done that.
No, never.
Good. So one of the topics I was thinking about as far as that goes too is just like, I even think of parental controls, just on media or devices, those sort of things, right? How much parental controls, everyone has a different opinion about this, right? Some people would just give kids an iPhone and say, have at it.
Learn the world from YouTube.
Right. Other people would say they don't even get an iPhone ever, right? And then other people would be like, well, here's the parental controls that I'm going to have on all your devices, whatever device it is. I'm going to stop saying iPhone so we don't have to pay for it. But I struggle with that a lot, especially with my oldest, because he's very trustworthy. And because he's very trustworthy and has the rules, I think sometimes I lean towards the side of giving him freedom up to the point of something that could really scar him.
Right.
Like, I don't want him looking at something that mentally or physiologically is going to put him in therapy for years, right?
Yeah.
So that's not what I'm talking about. Cut all that stuff out. But anything that's gray, below that.
You're very comfortable giving him access to that.
I am. But you might not feel the same way about like your youngest, as an example.
Right.
Or my youngest, maybe, as well.
And I think it's important to basically approach all of parenting not as one blanket family rule, but very distinct
Oh, for sure.
guidance for each kid.
I mean, how many listeners that are listening right now that have more than one kid would say that they're the same? I mean,
Right.
They're never the same. You know what I always think is interesting about that? People always say, well, how are the kids not the same? The parents are the same. Really? You're the same with your second kid than you were with your first kid?
It's never that way.
It's never the same.
No.
You're not the same person. That's bullshit.
Ask
you are the
anyone
same
after
person.
they've had, they're on their third or fourth, if they, have the same worries and concerns
There's no
as
way.
on the first. Yeah.
Again, that staircase example I told you about my third child climbing the stairs at 3, I never would have let that happen for my first child. My first child, I would be like, no, you can't even go on the stairs. My third child, I'm like, hang from the roof. Whatever.
Right. I think the journey almost every parent with multiple children takes.
Yeah. I don't usually hear people getting like more strict
No.
with more children. That's
No.
not a usual situation, unless something like tragic happens or something, but not usually.
No. You were talking about parental controls. I was thinking about the motivations behind each one, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean parental controls from a technological standpoint, but I just mean just the rules that we put in place to restrict our kids for their own benefit. And also you have to check your motivations, because a lot of times we don't truly understand, why are we restricting this? Why are we allowing this?
Yeah, it's true.
And I was thinking about, I used to use the words age appropriate all the time. When it came to music, TV, clothing outfits, I'd be like, no, you can't wear that. That's not age appropriate, or you can't see that. I thought I was avoiding any shaming statements because I wasn't saying you can't wear that because that's bad or immodest or
Yeah, but you are
whatever.
shaming them for being their age by saying that, right?
I'm saying that what you're trying to do is not appropriate for your age.
Right.
So we're going to wait until you're at the right age. And sometimes,
How do you feel about that now? I mean, do you still like
so here's what happened is that my oldest got super frustrated and she goes, what does that even mean? You're just making up that as a thing to say every time you don't like something.
Oh, yeah.
And she got real frustrated.
How true is that
And
statement?
it was very true.
Kids, man.
And she was like, what does it mean, age appropriate? I go, I'll explain it when you're older.
The answer is not age appropriate. Oh man, our
So-
kids are gonna grow up great.
Yeah.
Our
But
kids.
I really thought about that, and I eventually came back to her and said, you know what, you're right. If I'm going to have rules for you that you have to follow, whether you agree with them or not, I owe you a better explanation.
Yeah, that's very big of you as a parent.
And then I kind of looked at some of the stuff and I revisited my mindset. And one of my friends challenged me when it came to some clothing choices. It really was an age appropriate thing that I thought in my head. And
Like letting
The-
a girl wear a bikini or something like that.
that
Something
example,
like
but
that.
not
Yeah.
not that. And my friend said it's not her job that you're comfortable it shouldn't be a no just because you are uncomfortable with your little girl growing up.
Fair enough.
And so that really challenged me of like,
Oh, why am I saying it?
my comfort level is not the only thing that matters here.
Right.
That just because that's older than what I wish you were at in this stage, I don't want you to wear that. That's a me thing that I need to get over. And not just to say, that's the answer for everything, but for this scenario, it was, there's nothing wrong with that. And she's going to grow up, and there's really no good reason for me to say you can't wear that.
Yeah, that's a good point, bringing up the question of why am I saying this?
Right.
Am I saying this because I'm uncomfortable with whatever's happening, or am I saying it because it's actually inappropriate?
Right. Or if it's actually dangerous.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, not that safety is the only priority with children. I definitely don't believe that, but it's one of them, right?
And there's levels of danger.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Does it go against my very inner self, my very beliefs, my very core as a parent? Because if it does, then I should probably regulate that with my kids. But if it's just because of the fact that I'm uncomfortable that my little girl's getting bigger, well, tough luck, man. She's going to get bigger.
Right.
Yeah, I resonate with that for sure.
And I think you have to factor in what your level of trust is with your kids.
Yeah, for sure.
And you have to evaluate, is it deserved or not? And I think it's very fair to say, like we were talking about kids being different, right? Some kids are more trustworthy than others. Mm-hmm. And I tell my kids, like, here's why I trust you because of these decisions. Mm-hmm. And if there's an issue of trust, I bring it up, not to bring it up over and over again and shame them, but I say, here's why I'm concerned because these past behaviors.
Yeah.
And so let's work on that so that you can rebuild that trust.
Now that you bring up trust, I was at a conference a while ago, and one of the guys there said, he was talking about his kids, and he says what he says to his kids, and I want to get your feedback on this, is why I'm going to say it. What he says to his kids is, you'll have my love forever. I will always love you no matter what, but respect is earned. And I thought that was a really interesting statement. Respect and trust is earned. You'll have my love forever, but then you have to earn my respect and trust. What do you think about that statement?
Well, I think that's setting up a healthy idea of boundaries, right?
Yeah.
And I think you go to the extreme, right? A parent that has unconditional love for their kids, still, if they're an addict that has broken their trust over and over again,
right,
there should be some boundaries in place,
right,
so that it doesn't ruin everyone's life, including the addicts.
Well, and because the parent still wants to, you still have to do things to make sure that your kids are gonna, I don't know, do the best you can, parenting them.
Right.
Just loving with absolutely no boundaries or respect or anything else isn't love.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think people need to understand our children need to learn that some things are earned and love can be unconditional, but there are things like respect and trust that can be broken, repaired, rebuilt, and they need to learn that for what, in response to what they can earn from people. And also they need to see it modeled that they should be careful with their boundaries and who they give their respect and trust to.
For sure. I mean, this goes back to self-sufficiency. So, I recently had another example with my son, and on this topic of respect and trust being earned, he's earned a tremendous amount of respect and trust from me because of the fact that he has been respectful and trustworthy, right? So I am much more likely to allow him more freedom on that parental control side, like we were talking about earlier, because of the fact that he's proven to be trustworthy. Right? But we had this experience the other day, which, coming back to learning, is that we had a conversation about screen time on Saturday morning and when he could do that, because he always gets up early and he's sitting around and he is very respectful and trustworthy not to get on screens, even though he has access to them, because he knows what the rules are, right? Mm-hmm. So we had this conversation the other day and he said, what time? And I decided, I don't know if I'm going to stick with this, but I decided, hey, look, 8 a.m., you can get on a screen on Saturday morning. It's the weekend. We haven't done screen time. We're not doing anything else. I'm good with that. So 8 a.m., I don't care what time you wake up. This kid gets up at 6:30 sometimes. So he's going to be up for an hour and a half, 2 hours reading before he does that. I'm like, look, if he does that and he wants to get on a screen, I'm still sleeping, which I doubt that I am, but I'm good with it. right?
Sure.
Here's the bottom line of the story. I walk into his room at 7:53. He's on the other side of his bed, which is where he goes sometimes on his little computer, so I can't see him.
Yeah.
And he was on a screen at 7:53 a.m. What do you do in that situation as a parent? Right? You have a decision.
A decision. Do you call it out? Do you let it go?
So what I decided to do is I called it out. And it wasn't because I was trying to be a dick or a stickler or Nazi or something. It was because of the fact that it wasn't 8 o'clock. We agreed to 8 o'clock. And it's not a matter of whether it's a minute or 7 minutes or 3 hours. We agreed to 8 o'clock. It's not 8 o'clock. And that's what I said to him. This is also going to a very logical, punctual, factual child.
Right.
Who always, if I say it's 8 o'clock, he's like, well, actually, Daddy, it's 8:02. Right? So it works with this type of personality. Maybe it wouldn't work as much with kind of a free-spirited gypsy type personality.
Sure.
But with my son, it works. So what I said to him was, you lost privileges. You're on at 7:53. We agreed to 8 o'clock. He got pretty upset. He kind of tried to argue his way out of it because he's a great little debater. And so he tried his best. But I was like, you know what? I need to stick to my guns on this. So I did. And I said, nope, you're going to do it. Then throughout the morning, guess what? Guess what he did? Any idea?
Try to sneak screens again?
No, he did the opposite. He did everything he could to earn back my respect and my trust in the morning.
Ah.
He followed the rules. He did what he was supposed to do. And it wasn't like just following in line sort of thing. I could tell he was doing his best to earn back my respect and trust. I didn't ask him to do it. He just knows to do it. So just by seeing that, I was so impressed with him that I went up to him like, guess what? It's screen time.
Yeah.
Just because you did that on your own accord. I didn't even tell him what he had to do to get screen time back. I just said it was done. But he knew that it was a breaking of trust and a breaking of respect. And I thought that was incredibly powerful for an 11-year-old to do.
Yeah.
I thought that was amazing.
Yeah. It's so important when you are impressed, when you have something that you can verbalize and tell them, here's why this is impressive.
Yeah.
I think it's so important. And I keep trying to remind myself, they don't know what I'm thinking.
Right.
And so
sure.
any time that I'm impressed, encouraged, or even if it's not something that impressive, but it's a behavior that you can see they're improving on,
Yeah.
vocalizing that and praising them and just filling them up with that confidence is so important.
Yeah, and it's not fake confidence, right? It's not I'm just tooting their own horn or I'm trying to make them feel good about themselves or everyone gets a trophy, right? We live in 2024.
Yeah.
You know, it's not that sort of thing. It's actually praising what should be praised. Like you showed respect in this way. You were trustworthy in this way. You did this in this way. Because that's building the part of their confidence that's their inner self, not this fake, oh my God, I'm amazing just because I'm alive, like everybody thinks these days.
Yeah, whatever it is, it can't be too vague and it can't be superficial. It needs to be based on what they have actual control over, which is their attitude, their mindset, and their choices.